Hello, welcome to day of reading through the Bible. I'm Toni Henderson-Mayers. I'll be your reader. I'm known as an actor, a director, producer, professor, but most important, I'm a child of God. And I'm also known as an entrepreneur too, as well. If you want to know more about me, join my Toni Henderson-Mayers YouTube channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and ring the notification bell for that channel and this one so you'll know every time I upload a new video. So, you ready to read God's word? Let's go. Okay, I'll be reading Ezekiel 32 through 34. Let's read. And once again, if you like the readers, okay, and I do have male readers, but I don't wear them, check out the link across the bottom. Okay, chapter 32. And don't think I just have readers. I got this foldaway couch that turns into a bed. I've got so many other things that I use to help me read. My desk, okay? The microphone, I think, is up there. Whatever. It's some good stuff. Check it out. Okay, so chapter 32 of Ezekiel. A lament over Pharaoh. In the 12th year, in the 12th month, on the first day, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, take the Son of man, take up a lament concerning Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and say to him, you are like a lion among the nations. You are like a monster in the seas, thrashing about in your streams, churning the water with your feet, and muddying the streams. This is what the sovereign Lord says. With a great throng of people, I will cast my net over you, and they will haul you up in my net. I will throw you on the land and hurl you on the open field. I will let all the birds of the sky settle on you, and all the animals of the wild gorge themselves on you. I will spread your flesh on the mountains and fill the valleys with your remains. I will drench the land with your flowing blood. All the way to the mountains and the ravines will be filled with your flesh. When I snuff you out, I will cover the heavens and darken their stars. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon will not give its light. All the shining lights in the heavens I will darken over you. I will bring darkness over your land, declares the sovereign Lord. I will trouble the hearts of many peoples, and I will bring about your destruction among the nations, among lands you have not known. I will cause many people to be appalled at you, and their kings will shudder with horror because of you. When I brandish my sword before them, on the day of your downfall, each of them will tremble every moment for his life. For this is what the sovereign Lord says. The sword of the king of Babylon will come against you. I will cause your hordes to fall by the swords of mighty men, the most ruthless of all nations. They will shatter the pride of Egypt, and all her hordes will be overthrown. I will destroy all her cattle from bedside abundant waters, no longer to be stirred by the foot of man or muddied by the hooves of cattle. Then I will let her waters settle and make her streams flow like oil, declares the sovereign Lord. When I make Egypt desolate and strip down all who live there, then they will know that I am the Lord. This is the lament they will chant for her. The daughters of the nations will chant it. For Egypt and all her hordes, they will chant it, declares the sovereign Lord. Egypt's descent into the realm of the dead. In the 12th year of the 15th month, 15th day of the month, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, wail for the hordes of Egypt and cosign to the earth below, both her and the daughters of mighty nations, along with those who go down to the pit. Say to them, are you more favored than others? Go down and be laid among the uncircumcised. They will fall among those killed by the sword. The sword is drawn. Let her be dragged off with all her hordes. From within the realm of the dead, the mighty leaders will say of Egypt and her allies, they have come down and they lie with the uncircumcised, with those killed by the sword. Assyria is there with her whole army. She is surrounded by the graves of all her slain, all who have fallen by the sword. Their graves are in the depths of the pit, and her army lies around her grave. All who had spread terror in the land of the living are slain, falling by the sword. Elam is there with all her hordes around her grave. All of them are slain, fallen by the sword. All who had spread terror in the land of the living went down uncircumcised to the earth below. They bear their shame with those who go down to the pit. A bed is made for her among the slain, with all her hordes around her grave. All of them are uncircumcised, killed by the sword. Because their terror had spread in the land of the living, they bear their shame with those who go down to the pit. They are laid among the slain. Meshach and Tubal are there, with all their hordes around their graves. All of them are uncircumcised, killed by the sword, because they spread their terror in the land of the living. But they do not lie with the fallen warriors of old, who went down to the realm of the dead with their weapons of war, their swords placed under their heads and their shields resting on their bones, though these warriors also had terrorized the land of the living. You too, Pharaoh, will be broken and will lie among the uncircumcised, with those killed by the sword. Edom is there, her kings and all her princes. Despite their power, they are laid with those killed by the sword. They lie with the uncircumcised, with those who go down to the pit. All the princes of the north and all the Sidonians are there. They went down with the slain and disgrace, despite the terror caused by their power. They lie uncircumcised with those killed by the sword, and bear their shame with those who go down to the pit. Pharaoh, he and all his army will see them, and he will be consoled for all his hordes that were killed by the sword, declares the sovereign Lord. Although I had him spread terror in the land of the living, Pharaoh and all his hordes will be laid among the uncircumcised, with those killed by the sword, declares the sovereign Lord. Chapter 33. Renewal of Ezekiel's call as a watchman. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, speak to your people and say to them, when I bring the sword against the land, and the people of the land choose one of their men and make him their watchman, and he sees the sword coming against the land and blows the trumpet to warn the people, then if anyone hears the trumpet but does not heed the warning, and the sword comes and takes their life, their blood will be on their own head. Since they heard the sound of the trumpet, but did not heed the warning, their blood will be on their own head. If they had heeded the warning, they would have saved themselves. But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet to warn the people, and the sword comes and takes someone's life, that person's life will be taken because of their sin, but I will hold the watchmen accountable for their blood. Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the people of Israel. So hear the word I speak and give them warning from me. When I say to the wicked, you wicked person, you will surely die, and you do not speak out to dissuade them from their ways, that wicked person will die for their sin, and I will hold you accountable for their blood. But if you do warn the wicked person to turn from their ways, and they do not do so, they will die for their sin, though you yourself will be saved. Son of man, say to the Israelites, this is what you are saying. Our offenses and sins weigh us down, and we are wasting away because of them. How then can we live? Say to them, as surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but rather that they turn from their ways and live. Turn from your evil ways. Why will you die, people of Israel? Therefore, Son of man, say to your people, if someone who is righteous disobeys, that person's former righteousness will count for nothing. And if someone who is wicked repents, that person's former wickedness will not bring condemnation. The righteous person who sins will not be allowed to live, even though they were formerly righteous. If I tell a righteous person that they will surely live, but then they trust in their righteousness and do evil, none of the righteous things that person has done will be remembered. They will die for the evil they have done. And if I say to a wicked person, you will surely die, but they then turn from their sin and do what is just and right, if they give back what they took in pledge for a loan, return what they have stolen, follow the decrees and give life and do no evil, that person will surely live. They will not die. None of the sins that person has committed will be remembered against them. They have done what is just and right. They will surely live. Yet your people say, the way of the Lord is not just, but it is their way that is not just. If a righteous person turns from their righteousness and does evil, they will die for it. And if a wicked person turns away from their wickedness and does what is just and right, they will live by doing so. Yet you Israelites say the way of the Lord is not just, but I will judge each of you according to your own ways. Jerusalem's fall explained. In the 12th year of our exile, in the 10th month, on the 5th day, a man who had escaped from Jerusalem came to me and said, the city has fallen. Now, the evening before the man arrived, the hand of the Lord was on me. And he opened my mouth before the man came to me in the mornings. So my mouth was opened and I was no longer silent. Then the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, the people living in those ruins, in the land of Israel are saying, Abraham was only one man, yet he possessed the land. But we are many. Surely the land has been given to us as our possession. Therefore say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Since you eat meat with the blood still in it, and look to your idols and shed blood, should you then possess the land? You rely on your sword, and you do detestable things, and each of you defiles his neighbor's wife. Should you then possess the land? Say this to them. This is what the sovereign Lord says. As surely as I live, those who are left in the ruins will fall by the sword. Those out in the country I will give to the wild animals to be devoured. And those in strongholds and caves will die of plague. I will make the land a desolate waste, and her proud strength will come to an end. And the mountains of Israel will become desolate, so that no one will cross them. Then they will know that I am the Lord, when I have made the land desolate waste, because of all the detestable things they have done. As for you, Son of Man, your people are talking together about you by the walls and at the doors of the houses, saying to each other, come and hear the message that has come from the Lord. My people come to you as they usually do and sit before you to hear your words, but they do not put them into practice. Their mouths speak of love, but their hearts are greedy for unjust gain. Indeed, to them you are nothing more than one who sings love songs with a beautiful voice and plays an instrument well, for they hear your words, but do not put them into practice. When all this comes true, and it surely will, then they will know that a prophet has been among them. Chapter 34. It's our last chapter reading for today. The Lord will be Israel's shepherd. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Woe to you, shepherds of Israel, who only take care of yourselves. Should not shepherds take care of the flock? You eat the curds, clothe yourselves with the wool, and slaughter the choice animals. But you do not take care of the flock. You have not strengthened the weak or healed the sick or bound up the injured. You have not brought back the strays or searched for the lost. You have ruled them harshly and brutally. So they were scattered because there was no shepherd, and when they were scattered, they became food for all the wild animals. My sheep wander all over the mountain and on every high hill. They were scattered over the whole earth, and no one searched or looked for them. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, because my flock lacks a shepherd, and so has been plundered and has become food for all the wild animals, and because my shepherds did not search for my flock, but cared for themselves rather than my flock. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against the shepherds and will hold them accountable for my flock. I will remove them from tending the flock so that the shepherds can no longer feed themselves. I will rescue my flock from their mouths, and it will no longer be food for them. Well, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I myself will search for my sheep and look after them. As a shepherd looks after his scattered flock, when he is when he is with them, so will I look after my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places where they were scattered on a day of clouds and darkness. I will bring them out from the nations and gather them from the countries, and I will bring them into their own land. I will pasture them on the mountains of Israel, in the ravines, and in all the settlements in the land. I will tend them in a good pasture and the mountain heights of Israel. With their grazing land, there they will lie down in good grazing land, and there they will feed in a rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. I myself will tend my sheep and have them lie down. declares the sovereign Lord. I will search for the lost and bring back the strays. I will bound up the injured and strengthen the weak. But the sleek and the strong I will destroy. I will shepherd the flock with justice. As for you, my flock, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will judge between one sheep and another, and between rams and goats. It is not enough for you to feed on the good pasture. Is it not enough for you to feed on the good pasture? Must you also trample the rest of the pasture with your feet? Is it not enough for you to drink clear water? Must you go muddy the rest with your feet? Must my flock feed on what you have trampled and drink what you have muddied with your feet? Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. See, I myself will judge between the fat sheep and the lean sheep. Because you shove with flank and shoulder, butting all the weak sheep with your horns, until you have driven them away, I will save my flock, and they will no longer be plundered. I will judge between one sheep and another. I will place over them one shepherd, my servant David, and he will tend them. He will tend them and be their shepherd. I, the Lord, will be their God, and my servant David will be prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken. I will make a covenant of peace with them and rid the land of savage beasts, so that they may live in the wilderness and sleep in the forest in safety. I will make them and the places surrounding my hill a blessing. I will send down showers in season. There will be showers of blessing. The trees will yield their fruit, and the ground will yield its crops. The people will be secure in their land. They will know that I am the Lord when I break the bars of their yoke and rescue them from the hands of those who enslaved them. They will no longer be plundered by the nations, nor will wild animals devour them. They will live in safety, and no one will make them afraid. I will provide for them a land renowned for its crops, and they will no longer be victims of famine in the land or bear the scorn of the nations. Then they will know that I, the Lord their God, am with them, and that they, the Israelites, are my people, declares the sovereign Lord. You are my sheep, the sheep of my pasture, and I am your God, declares the sovereign Lord. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading and the hearing of his most holy word. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Well, that was some good reading right there. I was feeling that in my shamana. I was feeling that in my heart. Yes, indeed. I don't know. Did that speak to you? Let me know in the comment section. Sometimes you're reading and it just uplifts and it just encourages you and it engulfs you and it surrounds you. And wow, I almost stopped reading. I almost took a lap. I almost ran around here, y'all. And I'm surprised I haven't done it before. But I was almost there. Yes, indeed. So we talked about a lament over Pharaoh. And if you remember on yesterday, we ended with it was like a judgment kind of over a Pharaoh. And so now we're into the lament of Pharaoh. And he told us, the Lord, through Ezekiel, what the lament would be and that how it would go, honey. And it's going down in history what the lament would be. And that is something. I mean, word for word, we know what the lament would be said, what would be chanted. Um, the daughters of the nation would chant it. Egypt and her hordes will chant it. And this is what God is saying. We also read Egypt's descent into the realm of the dead. Ooh, child. My God, you know, me and the pit don't get along, okay? Remember that, Lord. Me and the pit don't get along. And he was talking about Egypt's descent into the realm of the dead. He going right into the pit, although he was obeying the Lord by his evilness, but the Lord used that evilness, right, to help the children of Israel. But don't get it mistaken, honey. You still going into the pit. My God. I was like, oh Lord, you still going? And he telling you who else is there. Okay. He told us who else was in the pit. So if you're watching this not as the end of my reading, but you're watching this as a separate video, as a reflection video, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in the chapter, you need to read that. Okay. You need to read that for yourself. Okay. Because he's telling you who's in the pit. And that's not everybody, okay? But he's giving you a good idea who's already in the pit. Then he talks about the renewal in chapter 33, the renewal of Ezekiel's call as a watchman. Now, I thought this was very interesting because, you know, you always talk when you call, Tony, you call. You call. But here we see it's a renewal of Ezekiel's call. And I wonder, you guys tell me in the chat for yourself, I wonder if it was because there was a period of time where Ezekiel was not verbally speaking. Okay, he was what we call he was. I guess people would think he was mute, but he was made silent for a period of time. He still was prophesying though because he was doing it through his actions. You know what I'm saying? And people like they got to the point like, okay, what is Ezekiel doing now? Because when he do that, that means that's what's gonna happen to us. Okay. In some way, shape, or form. All right. And of course he had helpers and different things like that around him. But we see a renewal of his call. And I wonder if that is in regard to the fact that during this chapter, his mouth actually was uh being brought open toward the end of this chapter and going into it's mentioned in the second half of chapter 33. And that's when Jerusalem's fall was explained. Okay. And a man came to Ezekiel and said Jerusalem had fallen. But it says when you get to chapter 33, around verse 22, it says, now the evening before the man arrived, the hand of the Lord was on me, and he opened up my mouth. He opened my mouth. Before that, he was silent. Before, you know, he was speaking before, then there's a period of time where he became silent. Um, and he said, the Lord had opened his mouth before the man came to me in the morning. So my mouth was open and I was no longer silent. Okay. So we see that in the second half of that chapter. All right. So it talks about the fall of Jerusalem. All right. That one good. It wasn't good. And it's so heartbreaking and sad. And here I'm not an Israelite nor a native of Israel, but I can kind of get an inkling of what that must have felt like. Some of you guys know because though some of you are watching me, you're natives of certain countries and you've seen your country fall or go through war or famine or some type of dictatorship or what have you. And here in America, we see a lot of things happening that's not pleasant at all. And even though you see a lot of things, and sometimes people get this idea that if you see improvements that need to be made, somehow you hate your country. No, no, when you love your country, you want it to be the best it can be. And so I can see the lament for people when Jerusalem was falling because they think about all that it was and what it could continue to be if they had only just really listened to what God was saying. So we ended in chapter 34 and we talked about the Lord will be Israel's shepherd. And I don't know about y'all, but I got so much inspiration from that. First of all, God talked to the shepherds. Because there was a whole, I kind of skipped over that a little bit, but there was a whole reading part, a whole section around 32 and 33 about, if you hear the watchman during that time when Ezekiel was being renewed as a watchman, renewed in his calling, and reconfirmed that he's a watchman. That if a watchman tells you, that warns you, and you don't listen to the warning, then you're going to suffer for that. And if you are not righteous, but you listen to the warning and you turn yourself around, that's going to bring life to you. So when we move forward, when God's talking about the shepherds, he's like, look, you done mistreated the flock. You done fed off the flock. You eating the flock. You wearing a fur. Got your little fur caps on and hats. You got the, remember, well, some of y'all don't know, but back in the day when I grew up in New Jersey, go back from New York, the East Coast living. Okay. I'm originally from the Midwest, but I grew up in New Jersey. I'm originally from Ohio, but grew up in New Jersey. We would wear what we call sheepskin. Yeah. So these shepherds walking around with sheepskin coats, honey, with fur hats and all this. He like, you eating the flock, you wearing the flock, but you're not taking care of my flock. You're not. Okay. And so I'm gonna be the shepherd. And boy, when he tells her, and then he had something to say to the flock. Okay. There's a certain way the flock need to act. Okay. The shepherds need to act a certain way, and they're gonna be held accountable. All right. And then the sheep need to act a certain way. Oh, they're going to be accountable. All right. And so, but he said, but when I become the shepherd, when I'm taken back and becoming your shepherd, you're going to eat good. Things going to be good. I'm going to bring you together. I'm going to look for the lost. I'm going to take care of these fat sheep. Okay. And these little skinny sheep. And these little sheep that want to butt everybody and start keep stuff going. And wow, what a beautiful chapter 29 of 33 says, I will provide for them a land renowned for its crops, and they will no longer be victims of famine in the land or bear the scorn of the nations. Then they will know that I am the Lord their God. And he talks even more. And see, unlike some politicians, when the Lord says it, it's going to be yes and amen, and it will happen exactly the way he said it will. Well, make sure you visit me on my website, which is www.ToniHenderson-Mayers.com. And this word has been so good. Guys, we are really getting down to the wire of finished reading this Bible. It doesn't seem like we haven't even gotten to the Gospels. The four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We haven't gotten into the New Testament, the remainder of the New Testament, the letters. And yet we've gotten through a lot of this Bible. So it's just getting gooder and gooder. So stick with us. Know that the word of God is a lamp unto our feet. It is a light unto our path. We will hide God's word in our hearts that we may not sin against God. You take care, and I will see you tomorrow. God willing. Bye. Hey there, thank you so much for checking out my video, and I want you to check out my website at ToniHenderson-Mayers.com. You can find out about me in film and stage. You can also find out about the wise courtship philosophy and everything that I do speaking across the country and the book that I've written. And of course, you can go on to my online store where you can learn a lot of information about business, get coaching sessions, online courses, and so much more. Not only that, I have an Etsy store, which the website of all of these things are in my description. So make sure you go to my Etsy shop, which is called Faith, Hope, and Love Center. Make sure you go to that so you can get t-shirts, and I'm adding things every day, t-shirts, mugs, masks, all types of things, into the link that's going to take you to all of the books that we're using pretty much in our Read Through the Bible series. So here are the journals. This reflection journal is so that you can write and take notes. This one has a lot of study information and will help you keep organized as you're studying the Bible. This is the Bible that I read from, the NIV Study Bible. Of course, Wise Courtship is here, and some of the other books that I wrote, Yes, God is Real, and also I Rise, Stories of Triumph It's just a great encouragement tool. So walk on over to the stores and give us some support. I think you're going to be blessed by the products. Take care.